Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another Kaiju stream. We are joined, and very happy to do so, by Chase. Hello.
Hello, everybody, and I have to share my 5-month sub anniversary.
Oh, awesome. That's great. Yes. Yeah, there's still time. Yeah, consider, I don't know what's going to happen after February 2nd. So to all of you whose subs are about to expire, maybe hold off until next month because I don't know when I will be able to stream, or if I'm in Japan. So still another 20 days left, though. 3 weeks, actually 3 weeks today. But thank you, highly appreciated. Thank you. Okay, so let's continue this thing. Where's the texture pen? Yeah, we'll move this here.
Yep, as soon as you said Japan, she shows up in the chat.
Oh, right. Yeah. Yes, cheese. Japan, actually, Japan. Let's call it its real name, Japan. It sounds way more fitting.
Very interested in Japan, mostly because he's looking for a Japanese waifu.
Okay, go ahead, ruin your life. What should I tell you? You hate living, right? You hate joy and you embrace sadness, and you want more in your life, right? This grace, all those nice things that you get with a Japanese wife. Stupidity, also. Lots of things. But hey, who am I to judge? Right. No, I didn't set you up.
Listen, I never agreed to that being my saga. That's something that you came up. But I feel like you're projecting on me, though.
Let's not start on this. That's going to be a long, long, painful conversation for everybody. Oops. Yesterday, Cheese convinced me to try out ZBrush again, and I might do it. I'm not going to stream it, but I might try it out. Well, maybe at some point. But we will see, because I want to study some musculature, and both for humans, which I am familiar with a little bit now, but for dinosaurs especially. And I was trying to do it with just drawing, but it's extremely complicated because there are no references, obviously. So I think the best way would be to just try to figure out, given the plates that you can find online, the actual musculature. And so I might just do it again. I don't know if I will stream it, but maybe some drawings. Yeah. And also, I think Samu in the Discord a few days ago said something about dinosaurs being more involved in using tools. That's actually a recent news. I actually looked it up, and I don't know about tools, but a new research says that I think it's a South American woman, says that the T-Rex might have had something like 3 billion neurons, something like that would have put the creature on par with baboons, or more, probably higher than baboons in terms of neuron count. So they could have had some sort of a culture, apparently, given the research. I don't know if this is legit or not. I don't know if it's reliable or not, but that's what they're saying. In general, theropods are now believed to have had more neurons than what they were previously believed to have. So
that doesn't really surprise me. There are very many intelligent birds, so that isn't too big of a stretch to me.
Yeah, well, something like ravens, maybe.
Ravens, crows, they're all very intelligent.
Yeah, so that's still interesting. I don't know. I like, even when I think about velociraptors, something like that. Yes, kind of intelligent, able to coordinate probably, but I don't think about culture in the way that it was proposed in the research. So again, I don't know
Well,
how attainable that is. Yeah.
when they mean culture, they're not they're not talking about human culture. The culture in like the way that, elephants gather and have certain social
Well, I mean,
characteristics,
if
but
they had something akin to
like T-Rex
chimps,
sitting around,
yeah.
Drinking coffee and reading books. But
No, probably not that. But if they had something similar to chimps, who knows? I mean, that would be interesting to study in that case. So
yeah, I mean, that's totally reasonable. A pack of them with sort of an alpha as the head and sort of a hierarchy amongst the members.
yeah,
What is a group of T-Rexes called? I said pack, but would they
pack. I
be a
guess pack.
flock?
I don't know. I assume it's pack. Herd. I don't know.
Well, I don't think herd. Whenever I think herd, I think of like herbivores, like
Yeah,
a herd,
same.
something.
So I don't know. I guess it's pack, like a pack of wolves.
Well, that's why I
Probably.
said flock, because you think of a flock of birds, and that's the closest thing, I guess. But
I don't know. Flock in my head sounds a little bit like something small, probably.
like a flock of seagulls.
Uh, I don't know. It doesn't. I wouldn't. I don't feel like saying flock of T-Rexes. So I don't know. I would probably say yeah, pack. Probably.
A pack of Tyrannosaurus rex is known as a terror, so you call them a terror of rexes.
Okay, that's an interesting name, for sure.
Well, some animals do, like crows, a murder of crows.
Murder, is that how it's called? If it's a group of crows? Didn't know that.
Yeah, a group of crows is called a murder.
First thing. I don't know how we call them here. A bunch of crows. It's just a bunch of crows. Oh man, when I heard that thing about the culture, I started imagining like real versions of the raptor I made last week, or was it 2 weeks ago? So I don't know, something like that, or gang dinosaurs.
He says that he wants a moose. What the hell would you do with a moose? Like, do you have the living quarters for a moose? Do you know how to feed it? What are you gonna do with a moose?
Yeah, he's gonna keep the moose in his bedroom, and he's gonna get out obviously because there's not gonna be any space for him.
It's like that guy on YouTube I saw the other day that has an alligator. Like he set up a place in his house where his alligator lives.
Oh, nice. I would probably not do that.
He basically like turned his garage into a swamp, and so there's like just a big water pit where the alligator lives, and he just throws it meat every now and then.
Oh, nice. Does he use the alligator to scare off his neighbors or something? Or thieves? Like that seems very
Some people are
strange.
just like that. They think it's like a big flex to have like an exotic animal as a
Yeah,
pet.
it's also kind of dangerous. But,
Like there was I think it was a few years ago. There's a story like in a residential area. I think it was maybe in Florida. Like a tiger was just walking around a neighborhood, like an actual, like, and they were trying to be like, okay, they thought maybe it came from a zoo or something, like it broke out, but it turns out like one of the residents in the neighborhood was secretly keeping a tiger as an exotic pet, which is obviously illegal, but.
yeah, I think I heard about that, or at least something similar about a tiger being kept as a pet.
Some of the more affluent people decide to do things like that to because I guess they think it's cool to have a tiger as a pet.
I mean, it is cool. Probably not as a good idea though, as it sounds.
Yeah. It sounds cool until it kills your grandma and eats her.
I guess. Uh, oh well, people do strange things. Stranger things, I guess. Yeah, I'm changing the color of these spikes. Be better this way.
Alligators can be common pets, especially in Florida. Yeah, they're very common there. Which is a shame, really, because they get them small, then they get big and cannot care for them, so they are given up to sanctuaries since they cannot survive in the wild normally. Yeah, so people look at baby alligators and they're like, wow, that's pretty cute. I want to take care of
Yeah,
this. And then it becomes gigantic, and they're like, I can't take care of this anymore. But since they raised it since it was a baby, it can't really coexist in the wild. So
yeah,
yeah,
right.
then the
Was not
sanctuaries
used
take
to.
them.
I don't know. I don't feel very good about keeping dangerous animals as pets. I mean, stuff that gets pretty large, like tigers, lions, alligators, dinosaurs. That's not. I don't know. I don't feel like it's a good idea.
Or like that one lady that had a chimpanzee for a pet and it attacked one of her friends and ripped her face off.
Yeah, I am kind of familiar with the story.
It's very, to me, it's very awkward to have any kind of ape or monkey as a pet to begin with, just due to our close proximity to them.
Mm, yeah, makes sense.
Was that his name, Travis the Chimp?
What a nice name, Travis the Chimp. I know someone named Travis, but he's not a chimp. Obviously, obviously, he's not a chimp.
Yeah, that
Cheese
is.
does too. Yeah, Cheese does as well. He teaches his Watts now, and he is not a chimp. Yeah.
Although he acts like one.
Well, it's funny because his nickname is Cheeky Monkey on Instagram. So shout out to Travis if he's listening. Though he might be sleeping. He's in California.
I don't know who needs to hear this, but just because chimpanzees are intelligent and they seem kind of cute at times, don't keep them as pets. They're actually quite dangerous, and they will rip your limbs off.
Yeah, chimps are very aggressive and territorial. So if you look at them the wrong way, they can just tear you apart. Literally tear you apart to pieces.
Yes, that's not a joke.
That's not a metaphor or a form to make you not do it. It's literally going to happen. They do it. Their tribes just rip themselves apart. So probably not a good
Yeah.
idea to have one as a pet.
If you would like to know this interesting fact, chimpanzees' grip strength is about 3 to 5 times stronger than a human's. So imagine that gripping your arms and pulling on you.
Probably don't want to imagine it, or don't want to taste it.
Wow. So their grip strength is estimated to be 441 pounds. So imagine 441 pounds grabbing
Pulling on
onto
your arm or neck.
Yeah.
God.
But hey, if you want to have a pet gorilla or whatever, be my guest. If you want to be another member of the Darwin Awards, go ahead.
Something happened with my Photoshop. That's strange. The interface looks lighter. Why? Do I have any different setting? Strange. Oh, maybe because I've been looking at the dark picture for too long. I don't know. Well, weird. Uh, yeah.
I don't know if they're one of the only animals, cheese, but it is true that they can be quite sadistic just for their own pleasure.
Yeah, chimpanzees are very, very not friendly. Very not friendly at all. But hey, if you want to have a friendly neighborhood chimpanzee, go ahead.
The interesting thing is that very intelligent animals have a tendency to be more sadistic.
Yeah.
Not just humans, but
I wonder if T-Rexes were also very sadistic.
Like, that's also applicable to dolphins. I know dolphins seem pretty cute as well, but they have very sadistic tendencies too.
Really, do they?
Oh, yeah.
Like, what do they do?
I don't know the extent I can talk about it. They do
okay,
like to...
well,
Yeah.
let's not. I can guess.
I'll just say that dolphins get away with many crimes because they're dolphins.
Towards humans?
What's that?
Towards humans too?
I don't want to touch that one. No pun intended.
I know, because I was remembering that Simpsons episode where dolphins take over the world, which is actually pretty funny. It's actually...
Well, I was thinking for some reason the Japanese episode of South Park where they're talking about hunting dolphins and whales came to my mind.
Yeah, I was not thinking about that. But I think Cheese showed it to me, yeah, some time ago. Come on.
So, Nemo, how do you feel about the very recent push that we should ban gas stoves?
Well, this is the first time I hear about it. It depends on the stove, I guess. I don't know, is it gonna be dangerous for some reason? Do you still use gas stoves, by the way, there? I was assuming you all had electric stoves in the US.
No.
I didn't
I
know.
use a gas stove to cook.
Well, mine is gas powered, but we have gas from the pipes like that come to my house. So it might become a problem, like, because first it's gonna cause a higher electricity consumption. So I don't know. It's not like you can cook and have 1,000 appliances turn on at the same time in that case. Secondly, if your power goes out, you cannot cook. But right away I can. Like, even if the power goes out, I can cook. For the rest, I don't know. I've always... okay, the only non-gas stove I had was in Japan. And I didn't like the way he cooked things. Like, the induction stove is kind of lame. Because if one of your pans is just slightly crooked, then it's not going to cook well. So banning them seems excessive to me. I don't see why there should be a ban unless there is some kind of safety thing involved.
Well, the reason they're considering it is because of a study that was done fairly recently, saying that it leads to increases in exposure to asbestos. As far as I know, there's one study that's been done on this, and there are other studies that contradict this. But I guess they're taking this one study, using that as the gospel truth, and now saying, okay, so gas stoves cause asbestos exposure. Sorry, I have a hard time saying that.
Yeah, asbestos is a complicated name, in fact. I don't know. There are many issues with that here because, especially one, actually, there was a company that was using asbestos for, I don't know what exactly, like roofing, and most of the people that worked there died. So people are extremely sensitive to the topic. But stoves, well, why would they? Like the ceramic that the burners are made of, or something?
I would have to take a deeper dive into the study, but my overall point is that you can't really just draw a scientific conclusion from a single study. That's not how it works. We can't just say that this is true just because one study found it. You have to reproduce it multiple times.
Yeah, just one study doesn't seem enough. Also, it's something we've used for ages, honestly. So it's kind of the most natural way to cook. It's a fire. So I don't know.
Hey, casual.
Hello, sir. How are you doing, my friend?
But yeah, induction or electric stoves, those tend to be for more well-off or affluent people. Most people in the United States have gas stoves.
Okay.
And I've heard, like you, I've heard very mixed things about using induction or electric stoves. Mostly because, like, you need specific pans and hardware to actually use them. And oftentimes, like, I've had people buy pans, and they say, like, at least a quarter of them don't work because of the way you have to angle them on the stove and things like that. So,
Yeah, well, it's just really because if they're not of very high quality, they bend.
Yes, yeah.
And once they're bent, they're useless because they're not gonna cook uniformly. Obviously, it's not flat anymore. So, that doesn't sound like a good idea. To ban seems a little too much, honestly. To me.
It's not about that health or hazards. It's about control and being able to shut off your appliances on command. Well, look.
They're saying that about cars now, also.
Well, I mean, we could speculate about the actual motives behind it all we want. The reality is that forwardly, they're putting the health reasons as the reasons for why we should do it. And I'm saying that we should be skeptical of the reasoning behind that right now because there isn't just enough good data to support the conclusion. But it is very odd that everybody seems to be an expert on the unhealthiness of gas stoves, which is something that has just popped up recently.
Yeah, in fact, as I said, this is the first time I hear it. So I've never been concerned. My stove is gas powered and my oven is gas powered too. So I'm not feeling concerned, honestly. So we'll see where this goes. Probably nowhere, like always. Like, who are these people that release the studies? I don't know. Who are they?
I would have to look at to see who published it.
For one research that says that, there are probably going to be another 100 research that say the opposite. So, researchees. So, researchees that say the opposite. So, I don't know. I guess I will be skeptical until it's proven by other studies. Probably better to just not be too fussy about it until it's confirmed. And still, I mean, I
I
don't
mean,
know.
if
It's
they
just
produce a significant amount of evidence, then I'm more than willing to say, okay, well, there's evidence to believe that this is the case. But I'm just saying, like right now, you're going to make a policy decision on something that's not really well studied or understood, which is never a good idea. But
yes.
but we do that with other things. But I don't want to go there because we're getting into political stuff now. Maybe I should create a nuclear powered stove.
Maybe. Technically, its catalog is clean energy, though, so why not? Maybe the solution we're all looking for.
Oh, hey, student, welcome back.
Hey! Yeah, it's been a while. Oh, welcome back to our humble stream. I hope you're doing good.
Unfortunately, in this day and age, the science has become a label, and a lot of it is questionable at best when you have peddled it by activism and not the pursuit of truth. So again, there's nothing there to say. Well, yeah, I mean, I definitely agree that the scientific field has those people. I guess my point I'm trying to make is that the motives behind the people doing things are less important than the conclusions that they're drawing. Because you could have a bad actor who's arguing for something, and maybe you disagree with the reasonings, but to me, that's independent of the research that they're producing.
Yeah, right.
Which we can definitely criticize that.
Yeah. Pretty much. It doesn't really make sense to argue about the motives. It's just, okay, is there data that's verifiable, or are there experiments that are reproducible? No? Well, then, I mean, I guess it's self-explanatory. It's not believable in that case. So.
But I do agree with you, Cheese, that there are sentiments that are very explicitly anti-scientific that people peddle as scientific. Which, I mean, in the past number of years, we've heard people say things like, the science is settled on this issue, which that's not a scientific statement. You don't say the science is settled. Science is always criticizing it.
Right. Otherwise it would be science. Like, okay, well, science is settled on classic physics. That's it. Newton is the last truth sayer of physics, so nothing there anymore. That's send everyone else home.
You know, quantum physics, that's totally fake. It's a conspiracy. Newtonian physics, that's always going to be the law of the land. Yeah, okay. That's not scientific reasoning.
Yeah, I know a lot of people reason like that, unfortunately. In fact, one of the premises of science is that it's always questioning what previous science did. It's funny, like, 'cause especially the past 2 years, you heard people say, "Oh, science is always right." It's like, no, science is always wrong, technically. I mean, it's right about something maybe, but it's always refuted by something that comes afterwards. So to hold science as the ultimate truth is probably not a good idea. Because something in the next 10 years is going to come around and question that and maybe prove it wrong. So
Science is a method and a mechanism for creating models to help us understand reality. Science is not a matter of finding truth or not.
That's right.
Because
truth
is a philosophical matter.
Yeah.
The whole point is that it's trying to find mechanisms, and it's trying to find models create models and hypotheses and theories that help explain the mechanisms of reality. That's what science is. It's not a truth-finding exercise. That's philosophy,
Yep.
which is more subjective.
Yep.
But yeah, the second that somebody says that there's no debate about this, the science is settled. It's like, no, that isn't what science is meant to do. The whole point is you're always supposed to take everything. That doesn't mean that there's not, certain theories or beliefs that are generally accepted as being the ones that have the most evidence behind
Right.
them. But then, like, the second you start saying that this isn't a debatable topic or something, well, then people are going to like look at counter arguments and say, well, if everyone is arguing that there's no debate and you don't even want to hear this side of the debate, it's going to give those people credence even if they don't have any.
Yeah.
That's the issue. You should always be willing to debate a topic if you're a scientist. This is getting into other territory, but this is something that kind of annoys me. Is like, well, I'm not even going to discuss this topic or debate it because it's not worth debating. Well, okay, I agree that maybe the other person is making bad points, but if you're a scientist in a field, you should be able to demonstrate why those points are incorrect in terms of the models that. Don't just say we're going to shut off and censor anyone that has a different opinion. That's no, because now other people are going to say, well, this person must have credence then since everyone wants to censor them.
Right. Well, it's an ongoing debate. But the point is just that people always want to be right about something. Sadly, so whatever. I mean, literally, someone could find an isotope or something else that was not previously known, and all of a sudden, the whole landscape of physics changes. Like all of a sudden, in a matter of a day. And now we're on the brink of a big change because we were able just a few weeks ago to create fusion reactions and to power something with fusion. So that's a big breakthrough. And things are always changing. And assuming that there is one set truth in science that will not be confutated or refuted by something else, that's preposterous.
Well, yeah, I mean, based on what we know from what like you just said about the fusion thing, the issue isn't that, fusion as a means of developing energy was like impossible. The problem we had for many years is that the inputs and the outputs were mismatched. We were putting in more than we were getting as an output.
Yep.
And then the apparent breakthrough that we need more testing on is that they were actually putting an input and getting more output as a result. And that was something that was considered, almost unbelievable for a long period of time. And now that's happened based on different methods, different technologies, and different understandings of the scientific material. So
yeah. So I like science a lot, but it's not a tool for finding out truth, really, like Chase said. And it needs a lot of testing. So just because one study says, oh, gas stoves are dangerous, let's get rid of them altogether now. Maybe not.
Well, it is also important that you do not intertwine your scientific understanding of things and present your political beliefs as being scientific as a result. Because what you understand scientifically is a separate matter to your subjective notion of what we should do about things politically. So saying that well, the science says that we should do this. Well, no. Science doesn't say you should do anything. Again, as I said, it's a method and a model.
Yeah, science is not a prescription. It doesn't prescribe anything. It says, okay, this works like this. And it's up to you to decide what to do with it. It's also why you need something like philosophy to handle other matters, because science needs a framework in which to work, right? Within which to work. Because otherwise you have no reference at all. You just know, okay, this works like this. It's like, okay, well, this is the landscape, but it's not going to tell you where to go. It's just a map. Where to go is up to you, your beliefs, and your philosophy, which is different.
Correct. But too many people assume that because we drew a certain conclusion or we came to some sort of understanding about a model. That means, therefore, we have some sort of philosophical or political motivation to actually do something. And you can believe that personally, but that's not a scientific belief.
No.
And presenting it as such shows that you're being disingenuous.
Less people will just keep doing it. It could be a weapon, cheese. It can also be a great tool. It's like everything is good or bad depending on who uses it. I mean, internet could be used to do good, to learn stuff, or it could be used to watch porn. I don't know. Like, it just depends on the actor. So, and that's completely unrelated to science. It's just nothing to do with it. It's not, the tool itself is not determining its use. It might be indicating it, but it's up to you to decide what to use it for.
Yep. I certainly echo those sentiments. It's a tool / a methodology of doing things. Just the same way with a knife, right? You could use a knife to cut bread. You could use a knife to kill somebody. It's a tool. You could use it for good or bad. Just, I don't know.
History has shown that most people use it for bad purposes, but hey, whatever. I still like warm water when I shower, so thank you, science, for that and progress. And I also like the commodity of the internet and the fact that it feeds me because I have a job through the internet.
Well, I am appreciative of the internet because even though there's a bunch of degenerates on here, including in this chat, I still really enjoy the internet for the knowledge that it gives me, access to great amounts and wealths of material.
Yes. All of the references to a certain emperor in the chat are purely coincidental. Of course.
Degenerates in chat, they are pals though. I didn't say they weren't pals. You could be a friend with someone and they could still be a degenerate. I am a degenerate. Well, sometimes, maybe. That is interesting. You always call people degenerates. You never hear people called generates.
Right. What is degenerate then? The opposite. In fact, I've never heard that as a compliment or an insult. Degenerate. You are degenerate, which means I'm very good. I assume it's the opposite, so technically. That must be very good.
I guess that makes sense. Generate comes from like genus, the Latin, and genus is like stock or race. So if you're saying someone's a degenerate, you're saying that they're like of good stock. Whereas if you're degenerate, you're from a degenerated stock.
Does make a wrinkle. I guess. Latin is an interesting language, but I don't miss it. I don't miss studying it. Although it was kind of fun to just make up sentences using nowadays speech, but using Latin. Like, yo, bro. In Latin, though.
Yo, bro is Latin?
Yeah. No, that's not Latin, but I used to make up sentences like that in Latin. No, seriously. That was very stupid of me, but also very fun.
I don't know. Latin has a way of making concepts or words seem way cooler than they actually are when you translate them directly. There's
Yeah.
just a certain, I don't know, a flourish or a poetic nature to the language that makes things seem
Yeah, there is.
really deep.
That's true, yes. There certainly is a kind of poetic sounding of things. But obviously, the language we have now, it's not the one they were speaking normally. It's the one they used to write stuff, and not everybody could write. Almost nobody could write. So it's like a higher form of language. It's not like everybody would speak like that.
Well, there's also, I mean, there's just lots of great phrases that like condense things where if somebody knows, they know what you're saying. Like if I say ceteris paribus, right? So I could say that fully as a sentence and it'd be something like, all things else being equal. But if I just say ceteris paribus, I'm getting a point what I'm saying.
It's just
and I'm using that a more pithy way. That's like,
Yes.
okay, I don't need to write this so long. And if you understand that phrase, you understand what I mean when I say that.
Yeah. I agree with that. Yeah. It's like memento mori, right? It's just two
Right.
words, but it's so meaningful.
But the
Basically,
concept
remember that you will die, but it's just two words, so it's very interesting. It's like a memento of death. Although it means much more than that, because it technically means remembrance of the fact that you will die. So it's much longer if you want to translate it to a language that's viable nowadays.
But just saying "remember that you will die" doesn't have the same weight as just saying
it
memento
doesn't.
mori.
It's kind of poor if you say it like that. It's like, oh yeah, remember, in case you will die. But the philosophical aspect of memento mori is very different, because it goes together with the philosophy of living that's forgotten nowadays, sadly, and also difficult to understand for us.
Hey, Veen on YouTube.
Hey, Veen, welcome back. It's been a while.
He asks, "Are you painting on a single layer?"
Yes, kind of. I merged them together a few minutes ago, because it doesn't matter in any case at this point. I mean, it's pretty much done, so I just have to. I'm gonna add layers and then probably crush them together as I need. It's gonna need a lot of stuff. I mean, a lot of stuff left. So, yeah, it's gonna. I'm afraid it's gonna take a couple weeks. Hopefully, it's gonna be worth it.
So for people in the chat, I sent Nemo a video last night because I've been using Adobe After Effects to play around with making attack animations for my game. And while it's very cumbersome because I have to make the animation in After Effects, export it as a PNG sequence, and then basically resize all of the images and then place them in order. And while it's a very cumbersome process, actually some of the effects look pretty good when
How
put
do
in
you
the
make
games.
them, by the way? Do you use particle system?
Yes. Yeah.
I was using that to make weird stuff in the past with After Effects. It's a versatile tool. It's just a little cumbersome, as you say.
Yeah, and like what since I have to mess with the settings a little bit, so like instead of doing 60 frames per second, I set the composition to 15 frames per second, and then I just set it to
Mm.
4 seconds. So basically get the same effect, but it's not as like it's not as fluid as I'd like it to be, but in game it looks not too bad, all things considered.
Yeah, it looks nice. I've seen it. I can confirm. It's the fire. Did you also make the magical circle that was part of the animation, or was that just part of the?
No, that's a separate thing.
Okay.
That actually, yeah, that shouldn't be there, but I forgot to take that
Okay.
off.
I mean, it's not too
But
bad though. Kind of liked it, honestly.
oh yeah, the animation's good. It's just like it wasn't properly framed on the dragon that I was
Yeah.
using. Showed up around its torso, uh, but around the characters when they use it, it looks really cool. Nemo is also working on a creature design for me right now, and this morning I was watching videos of stoats and weasels.
Yes. I mean, they're interesting creatures.
They are. I mean, they're actually like pretty vicious predators too.
Yes.
'Cause one,
They
I
are.
mentioned this before in a previous stream, but like weasels and mongooses and all those stoats, all those sorts of animals. One of the things in their favor is like how energetic they are, and that isn't just like a cutesy. Oh, it's so hyper. Like when these creatures are hunting something, they do not stop. They are relentless, and that's like I was watching a video of I think of like a weasel chasing a rabbit to hunt it, and like the weasel just kept chasing it, and the rabbit started getting tired, and the weasel was like just completely full of energy, and eventually it just chased the rabbit down, and the rabbit grew tired and just couldn't keep going. And it's like that's so scary. Imagine being chased by something that just doesn't run out of energy.
Yeah. In fact, I found a poster, I guess, of I don't know exactly what, but there was like a man being maimed basically by weasels of some sort. I
Oh
don't know,
yeah,
magazine. What was it? It looked like a
yeah,
magazine to me. Uh, Pretty weird. It's like the night of the were weasel.
yeah. Weasels ripped my flesh. That's what it's called.
Jeez.
That's kind of how they act in the wild, though.
Yeah.
They gang attack you. They're like compies in the Lost World. They're like very small, but they all just start ripping you bit by bit. There's even a video I watched of a weasel fighting a seagull in the water. It was crazy.
Oh, I've seen some videos and pictures of weasels with praise. They're very vicious. Like there was one that was tearing apart a squirrel.
Well, like even with larger things, because their bodies are so slender, they almost wrap around you like a snake, but then they have the jaws that like sink into your neck. So it's like they're strangling your body while biting into your
They
neck at
have
the same
very
time.
large teeth compared to the
Yes.
skull size. Very large.
And their bite strength is actually pretty impressive too.
So, warning for you campers: stay away from weasels.
Watch out for the weasels.
Watch out for the night of the were weasels.
What's the Japanese weasel yokai? The Kamai Tachi. So it's like a sickle weasel thing
Yeah, I don't remember that,
from Pokemon is based off of it.
to be honest. I don't remember that.
All right, I had to mute because my dog was barking at the mail truck.
He doesn't like mail. Is he
No,
predicting something?
dogs and mailmen have had a long history with one another.
Yeah. Or you've been getting threatening mails, so he's just trying to protect you. You're a very loyal dog.
Veen says, looks gorgeous. I love the saturation of the colors too.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I mean, it's fairly realistic as a palette. It's not excessively colorful. So
Yeah, a kaiju wouldn't really have very high saturation on its
probably not.
colors.
Yeah.
Well, not typically, at least. There are some brightly colored kaiju, but yeah.
It's looking pretty good so far, though, I think. Or okay, at least. I'm leaving a little bit of reflection from the water probably here, because we can see the underside. Like I have a tiny bit of a hint there. And I'm thinking I will get rid of all of this line work, because it's gonna have to be sprayed with a lot of mist. And probably I'm gonna leave some blobs of light for the eyes, say. But mostly it's gonna be covered. Same with the tail. It's probably gonna merge with the background. Background that I did not work on yet, or on which I did not work yet, because I am lazy, and so I'm gonna. Although you would ideally make the background first, I am gonna do the background, if not last, almost, because I'm not good at it. So I don't want to embarrass myself too much. I should really pick up backgrounds. There's so much stuff that I want to do, or that I have to do.
Stock image of the sky and put it in the background.
Yeah, maybe I could. I could. I could. No, I am going to get a stock image and I'm going to copy it or kind of use it as a reference. Not going to paste it though, because I don't really want to have it look like that sort of image. But yeah, something close.
All right, later, cheese.
All right, cheese. And cheese goes, and Alessandro comes. Hello.
Welcome, Alessandro.
Welcome. This is still the kaiju, as you can probably tell. We're still kaiju-ing.
I'm doing pretty good. How you doing?
Yeah, I'm okay. As well. Chase is back from hell, finally. So.
Well, no, I had to buy groceries last night, so I went back into hell.
Yeah, I mean, at least the disease hell. But
well,
there
it's
are
like
lots
different
of people I know that are sick now. It's gonna be a very bad flu year this year. This year looks pretty vicious.
But Nemo, I got my first time skip in Romancing Saga 2 last night. So they kind of happen a little randomly. Like you'll complete an event or something or beat a side quest, and all of a sudden it says the game skips forward 125 years. And when it does that, it gives you a choice of 4 different characters to choose from. And then when you choose one, they inherit everything that the previous character you used had. So it's like you kind of start over a little bit, but like everything sort of carries over. So all of the skills and equipment and things you got, but it's kind of like you're starting over with a different party each time.
Do
But
the new characters change depending on your previous choices?
I'm not sure. There's a bit.
Wait, you cut off. What? What?
Huh?
Okay, you cut off. I couldn't hear you.
Yeah, I was saying I'm not really sure. There does seem to be some bit of randomness to it because, like, so the characters all have different. There's not really a class system, although there kind of is. But like, characters have like different stat growths and basic inclinations towards certain weapons depending on their class. So like when I got my new choices for the emperors, there was like I could choose between a tanky character or like a mage character or like a very fast kind of fighter character. And so it kind of gave me like a random selection of things to choose from. And then I could just push the stats and things over to the next character.
So not exactly random, but kind of a little bit.
Yeah, I'm not sure to what extent it. Like, I don't know if there's like a pool of different options and like it chooses from that big pool randomly and gives you 4 of them or what. But it is fascinating because like my previous character, like the first character I started off with, was very mixed. It's like he had both physical and a little bit of magical capacity to him. But then for this next one, I was thinking, and like, so now the character I'm using is like more mage-like than the previous one. So I'm changing the strategy for the character a little bit.
I actually looked up a little more of the third one this morning. I have to admit, these are those are probably and easily the best looking sprites of any game. Because they're really well done. Really well done.
There's a lot of really great enemy sprites in that game.
Is it grindy, like, or does it flow fairly quickly?
The game, it's very complicated. So Saga games are very different compared to normal RPGs. When I was playing Saga Frontier, I explained this a little bit, but so in Saga games, you have something called a battle ranking, and this isn't really. It's difficult to. You can't see this normally in game. It's not like you can find a place that tells you your battle ranking, but your battle ranking, you would naturally observe this because basically throughout the game, when you fight more and more enemies, it increases your battle ranking, and then all of the enemies scale to you based on your battle ranking. So the entire world, it's not like there are set places where monsters are always the same, like in a Final Fantasy game, right? Like if you're playing Final Fantasy and you're going in the first area, you're going to fight goblins or something. And if you go back there at any point in the game, they're always going to be goblins.
Yeah.
That's not true in Saga games. In Saga games, if you start off in an area with weak enemies and then you come back at the end of the game to that same area, the enemies are all going to be different and they're going to be scaled based on your battle ranking. So in some ways, grinding is actually not a good thing in Saga games.
Right, because you want to keep the enemy level low. I mean, when I say grindy, I guess I mean something like, okay, can you progress fairly smoothly without having to fight too much? Or do you have to?
Yeah, I would say so. The games are, if you know what you're doing, you can get through them okay. They're definitely pretty difficult compared to other RPGs, though. So that is something to consider. But I mean, I I find a lot of RPGs to be pretty unchallenging for the most part because I play so many of them. And that's one reason why I like Saga games is they're so different. And like even the other day, I was playing Romancing Saga 3 and I was doing New Game Plus, which lets you transfer over your skills and items and everything like that. And I got to the final boss, and even on New Game Plus, with all of my characters at max HP, I still had to fight the boss a couple of times because he kept beating me. So it gives you a healthy challenge.
Let's see. Oh, that sounds interesting, at least.
But the thing about Romancing Saga 3 is like, it's so. I've played through the game a couple of times, but there's different main characters, and for the most part, the stories all end up being the same in terms of what you do, but like the beginnings are a little bit different for each of them, and also how you can recruit people is a little bit different. But like, there's so many different mechanics. Like in this last playthrough, I was playing Thomas, and Thomas is like sort of like a rich guy. He's like a business oriented person. And so in the game, he has his own mini game called the business system. And like, it's a mini game within the game itself where you use capital to buy businesses and then collect revenue and then buy out other businesses. And the whole goal is to just become like the most wealthy business in the world. And it's like, that's just part of the entire RPG itself, but that's something that is exclusive to him. And like each of the different routes have their own things that are exclusive to them. So it's like you could play each of the different characters and get something new out of the game every time.
That's interesting.
There's so many layers and levels to it. Like, so you can have up to 6 characters in your team. If you choose the main character, and so there's formations, which is in battle you get to have 5 characters. So if you have 6 characters, one of them sits out of the battle. And if you have your main character sit out of the battle, you enter into something called commander mode, which is basically the game. The characters do auto battles, but you get to choose their tactics in battle. So it's all very complicated, but it's just like I played the game multiple times and I feel like I've barely scratched the surface to the depth that it has. It's really incredible for like a Super Famicom game.
Yeah, but I mean, kind of reminds me of Final Fantasy VI in any case, in terms of looks at least. And I feel like in those times, in that era, they tried to go out and make something unique a little more than they do now. 'Cause nowadays, pretty much every game is the same, which is very annoying. But I can tell these are fairly different. Also, in terms of the effort they seem to be putting in, like the devs. Definitely something that I want to try. When I'll have the time. Hopefully at some point I will. Do you think the remake, well, the remasters of the Saga games are better than the original? Like, did they add anything like quality of life improvements or?
They do. So like Saga 3, like I said, is more of a remaster than a full remake. Although, if you compare certain things, like, I don't know, the general sprites, everything seems to be much cleaner, which I appreciate. They really cleaned up some of the environments, for instance, and made them look a lot more better and also easier to navigate. But there are certain quality of life things, like, so in Romancing Saga 3, they added something called the Phantom Maze. And the Phantom Maze basically, unlike, well, I told you before, like basically enemies throughout the game are random, right?
Yeah.
Depending on your battle ranking. In the Phantom Maze, every enemy is static. So when you go into a certain room, when you encounter an enemy, it's always going to be that enemy. And the reason why that's like really helpful is that certain enemies drop really important or powerful weapons or equipment. So it's like you can fight them over and over. And it also helps you spark new techniques because that's another thing in Saga games is that to get new techniques, you spark them in battle, which is when a little light bulb appears over your character's head and they just suddenly develop a new technique to use when you're fighting, which is always really fun. But sometimes it can be difficult for a lot of the more powerful techniques, and you can fight a lot of enemies that are easier to spark against in the Phantom Maze. So little things like that are definitely quality of life. And of course, New Game Plus is also a quality of life since you can transfer over your items and equipment to the next save if you want to play all the different characters.
I'm gonna have to try it out. Maybe even
if you're gonna get it,
yeah,
I recommend waiting for a sale because it usually goes off for like 50% off. I got like, I think it's normally like $21 or $22, but I got mine for like $10 or something.
Yeah, right now it's 31, so expensive for a remaster. I certainly think some of these remasters are overpriced. Honestly, like 31. Okay, it's a nice game, but I mean, it came out 40 years ago, so it's probably a little too much.
I understand. I would definitely wait for a sale, although it's published by Square Enix, so they can be a little bit of a...
Yeah, I noticed. That's my main issue. I don't like Square Enix. I hate giving them money. So if I can not do that, I'd rather not do that. Maybe something personal with Square Enix, unfortunately. So... I'll see. So right now, just to sort of comment a little bit on what I'm doing, I am trying to apply a bit of the look of Dual Masters cards. That's why I'm basically outlining everything, and I think it's kind of working out. Because if I get rid of that, see, it's even with that. Like this part here, it feels a little more cartoony, probably than it would otherwise. So I would rather keep it on that edge rather than 100% rendered, because it's not the look I'm looking for or I'm going after.
Well, yeah, replicating Dual Master style is always a good choice. Such top tier card art.
Really, yeah. Because, if you go very realistic, there are some things you just cannot do because it's going to look really strange. But with this style, this is it's a very good compromise, in my opinion, as a style. So you can do a lot of things and still make them look fairly, or make the result look fairly realistic. Is a plus for me. Like here I'm adding the whitish outline to it. It's gonna fade later, but I think it gives it a little more of a edge, literally, quite literally an edge. Figure out these
very design.
What did you say? Sorry.
I said it's a very edgy design.
Yeah, it's an edgy design. It's got lots of edges. It's edgies. The edgies.
We all had a bunch of spikes. That's always the sign when somebody's making an edgy design. It's when they add a bunch of spikes to it.
Of course.
Like most of the mega evolutions of Pokemon, it's like we're gonna add a bunch of spikes and make this look cool.
Well, spikes are cool. I've always been a fan of spikes. I am a spiky person. You can say my clavicles are spikes.
You have spiky hair?
Yes, kind of. A little bit. Not quite as an Asian type, but kind of spiky. It's funny because my hair was pretty curly when I was a kid, curly and lighter at least, and then it became darker to the point that my dad was working away from home, and at some point he came back. He was like, "Since when did your hair grow so dark?" Like, it's a long time.
That's actually pretty common. My brother, when he was younger, his hair was like platinum blonde, and then as he became a teenager, it grew darker and darker. And now his hair is just like black.
Yeah, mine was not platinum, but definitely a light brown when I was a kid. And then it just became black. Pretty much like a very dark brown. Not black, Asian black, but very dark brown.
Unfortunately for him, he can't grow a beard as good as I can. So if
I
you're out
remember
there,
you saying that. Same as me. That is unfortunate, but hey. I might have to in any case. If I shave my head, I'm gonna grow a beard. So I'm gonna look like a I don't know. Well, I can't say this, but whatever.
pristine.
I'm not gonna look very recommendable. I'm gonna look very suspicious, especially for
Do you know? Do you know the author Shel Silverstein?
I might have heard the name, but no, not right now. My mind.
That's his look. He's bald with a big beard, or was his look?
Also,
Sorry.
Kratos from God of War. So the celebrities that wear the same look. It's just the thing I guess men do when they become bald and they still want hair to some degree. They grow facial hair. We grow facial hair.
Everyone in the chat, I posted a picture of what Nemo is going to look like.
I guess a little thinner than that. So more like just out of a concentration camp type of look. Something like that, probably.
Well, actually, that look would be the kind that puts people in concentration camps.
I don't think they had beards. It doesn't sound very German. Huh.
Nemo wants to go for the skinhead biker look.
No. It's not like I want to go. It's like I don't know if I will have any other choice. Given my genetics. My very unfortunate genetics. I will keep you guys posted.
On your genetics, okay, thanks.
Yes. On the evolution of my scalp.
Nemo's gonna post his genome in the Discord for anyone interested.
Sure, yeah, so someone can clone me. Why not? Why not? Alright, maybe I should. You know what? This is gonna be. It's gonna be one. This is gonna be one here. I'm gonna have to add something else because these ones they actually look much better, and I don't think it is because of the glow. No, it's not.
What looks better than compared to what?
The spikes, crystals, on the like Space Godzilla stuff on the left side of the picture, they look a little or considerably better than the others. Probably because these are a bit overworked. But
The ones on the left faded to me.
What?
The ones on the left look a little more faded to me.
Yeah, they have a different contrast. So maybe I can try to bring in something here as well. It's just these are a little more in the light compared to those. So. And they're also thicker. Okay, better now. This needs to go darker. Maybe not that dark, just dark. No. Yeah, the problem is that this is basically a triangle that's split in two. Oh, kind of like the top one there, in fact. But I don't like that. Yeah, in any case, I'm gonna have to rework those areas a little bit because of the wings. So we will see. We will see, and we're about to go now. I'm happy with the progress. It's slow, I admit, but I think it's looking better than what it was before. It's
To be fair,
slowly.
it's a little more complicated compared to the things you worked on before.
Yeah, this is a full illustration. It's not just a monster. So hopefully I will make it worth it. I might just increase the explosion there. And for tomorrow, I'm probably going to get some explosion references so that I can make them. I'm probably going to work on those tomorrow. Those and the planes maybe. Because I've been neglecting that. And the sea. The sea is surely needs some attention. It's not too bad looking, but it needs a lot of work. So I might just do that tomorrow. Because I've been focusing on the creature alone, pretty much, and I feel like it does need. I do need to pay a little more attention to the foam here. And the actual sea. So, yeah, I'm gonna stop now. I think that stylus, and we will come back tomorrow with this. Yes, pretty happy with the result. I hope you guys are enjoying the ride. It's a long ride, but I'm gonna try to make it worth it. If I do this, it's looking pretty good in terms of value so far. So far so good. Okay, everybody. Yeah, as always, thanks for watching, and you guys take